G'day battlers, and today we're going to be diving in for some Go Battle League battles to show you what is quite possibly the greatest Scroll Cup team ever. And I say ever because the cup's only been out for a day, so I can say that, but this team is seriously so good, and I went on a 10-0 win streak with it and got a lot more wins on top of that as well. Now, this team, Annihilape, Morpeko, Sableye, was actually built by Arrohh, although admittedly he did use Shadow Sableye. I'm using the regular one here. I might talk about that a little bit later, but essentially the idea is that there are so few charmers in this meta, there's only like 3 that even have charm allowed in the meta, that you can kind of run rampant and free with this team that is all weak to charm. And to be honest with you, I faced quite a few charmers while I was going through these battles, and I still got wins. Like, it is just a really good team, really built all around Morpeko, and with Morpeko's ability to just do big damage to everything. I mean, look at the 3 allowed typings in Scroll Cup. Water, you're doing super effective damage. Fighting, you're doing super effective damage, and dark types are just taking so much damage from you anyway, it's kind of insane. Plus, you're resisting dark because you have the dark typing, so it is just an absolutely powerhouse of a Pokemon, and I truly think that Morpeko is the absolute kingpin of the Scroll meta, and so we'll go through some battles here today, part of my 10-0 win streak, to just sort of show you what this team can do. And the sort of overall strategy, in a sense, is let Annihilape go down and give energy or shield advantage to Morpeko in the back. Sometimes Sableye does really well in that back roll as well, especially with the Dazzling Gleam coverage move. So here we go, we've got Annihilape into Gastrodon, not a bad lead at all, until they quick swap into Gallade. This is actually a Psycho Cut Gallade, although we will see Charm Gallade a little bit later. But so we comfortably swap into our non-Shadow Sableye. We know we can tank a move from Gallade. We'll burn a shield here, and then we'll just Shadow Claw all the way down. Have a lot of energy ready to go. We are at the shield disadvantage, so we'd like to sort of get back from that eventually. But here comes the Gastrodon. We're just going to start unleashing some foul plays, weaken down the Gastrodon a little bit, charge up to the Dazzling Gleam, and throw the foul play again just to try and get that shield advantage back. But in the end, we're throwing 3 foul plays. They come out so quick now that it's been buffed that Gastrodon goes all the way down with all of his energy as well. Toxapex in the back. We have Morpeko, and even if we have a shield disadvantage, that is top left on that one. And I think we've actually got another quick top left in this game as well. We've got the Annihilape mirror match, and we realize as we go for that charge attack priority that the opponent is winning. They will be able to get their moves first, so we have to think of something else. And so I go, okay, I think what we do here is we land a Rage Fist, we instant swap into our Sableye, and we actually get the full Shadow Claw farm down, meaning that when this Morpeko comes in, we're going straight for that Dazzling Gleam, no baits, and boom, massive land into the Morpeko, and even the Sableye in the back, so they quickly top left as well. But let's get into some non-top left games. So we have the Annihilape into the Toxapex, and the strategy that I ended up finding out working for me, traditional thinking would be you've got an ABB line, you've got 2 dark types in the back, you should probably swap into your Sableye here, and Morpeko might find this Toxapex later. What I've been liking is just going straight Rage Fist and never burning any shields on the Annihilape, so that you can get that energy advantage on your own Pokemon. And so they go for the Brine here, Annihilape goes down, we bring in Morpeko and get a really nice farm down to have an Aura Wheel ready to go for whatever comes in next. And here's sort of the proof in the pudding. Whiscash comes in, not a good matchup for Morpeko at all. We get a shield because, we have so much energy, we just decided to debuff their defense. Go for the dark type Aura Wheel now that it's swapped over. Again, we get the second shield. And so now I'm like, hang on a minute. We have the 2-0 shield advantage. So we burn our first shield here. We recognize that we will definitely be able to get to our next Aura Wheel before they do. They actually throw on charge attack priority. And so now with that big damage coming through on Whiscash, we let Morpeko go, and we're going to leave it all to Sableye with a shield advantage. Sableye is going to be able to almost get that full Shadow Claw down. And it's actually Mandibuzz in the back. So we land 1 Dazzling Gleam here. That'll bring Mandibuzz down to about half health, and because we have a shield in tow, it doesn't really matter whether we use it against the Mandibuzz or against the Whiscash, because either way, it's going to be a similar amount of damage. So we just use it here and go for the Dazzling Gleam, take out Mandibuzz, and a 1 Shadow Claw is all we need to take down the Whiscash. Again, we landed a big 10-0 win streak here. It is pretty insane. Now, this is a bad lead for Annihilape, but that's all right. We'll go back to that sort of normal ABB strategy, swap into the Sableye, and everyone thinks you're going to bait first. Bye, Morpeko! Again, right, we sort of win on the spot, but here is that Charm Glade. And now it's like, ooh, okay, how do we get through this when this can really just charm through us all? And the truth is that even though Sableye takes a lot of damage from Charm, Shadow Claw's back do so much as well. And so we bring Gallade down to below half health. We swap into Annihilape here because we actually want to save our Morpeko for that Pelipper in the back, recognizing that we just want to do as much with this Annihilape as possible. And so we do end up getting taking it down. Pelipper comes back in. They do still have a shield, but we're just going to go for the Psychic Fangs defense drop so that we can just Thunder Shock all the way down. We can comfortably burn our last Protect Shield here and take the win from this Pelipper, which again, not a great lead, but the Sableye swap in, landing the Dazzling Gleam was pretty solid for us. But Annihilape into Drapion, again, not a pretty decent lead in the grand scheme of things. Obviously, we are a little bit slower pacing. Well, a little bit. We're quite a bit slower than Drapion, or Drapion if you really want. But Mandibuzz swaps in, and that just means we can swap right into our Morpeko. We charge up to the Aura Wheel, go for the Psychic Fangs bait, and the opponent does fall for it, which is, always great for us. Although, even if they didn't, this would still be a pretty decent position for us to be in. Dark Pulse does do a lot of damage, and so now we charge up again. We should have just gone straight for the Psychic Fangs. There was no reason to sort of overfarm on that one. But, we would have gotten a little bit of extra Thunder Shock damage because of the defense debuff. But we decide that we want to get our Aura Wheel off. They swap into the Drapion, and we say, okay, that is actually fine by us. We still have the Sableye in the back that does have access to Dazzling Gleam. So we decide to swap into Annihilape here, throw the Close Combat straight away, make sure that this Drapion goes absolute bye-bye, and it turns out that it is a Azumarill in the back. And at this point, we're stressed. We're like, ooh, we have to take out Mandibuzz and Azumarill, and we've got a little bit of a Morpeko and a Sableye. So Sableye is going to have to do a lot of work here. We swap into Morpeko, and again, this is going from bad to worse. I thought that maybe I had enough energy to get it with Psychic Fangs. I didn't, and so now we're like, oh no. So we shield the Ice Beam from the Azumarill. I was like, oh no, we got baited. This is a disaster. But they throw another Ice Beam. And I'm like, hang on, is this Ice Beam play rough? They swap trying to catch the move into Mandibuzz, letting us get all the energy we could ever want, throw one Dazzling Gleam into Mandibuzz, throw another Dazzling Gleam into Azumarill, and somehow we pull that game out. I don't really know how, but a Dazzling Gleam buff to a Sableye is pretty solid to say the least. Now, we're back to our classic spot, Annihilape versus Toxapex. So again, the big strategy we're going to go for here is going straight for those Rage Fists and not using a single shield on our Annihilape, just letting it go down and then getting a bit of an energy advantage in the back. And really, you can definitely get stuck into quite a few teams, but this is the strategy that was really working well I sort of had 6 sets because I banked a set from yesterday, just to sort of maximize how much battling we got to do in the Scroll Cup, because I wanted to try it out. It's a brand new cup, And so we swap into Morpeko, get our full energy farm down. If you're the opponent, you should really be swapping out there to try and limit that ability, because now they're swapping a Drapion into a Morpeko, eating a massive Aura Wheel. You see, when they're so far behind, they want to try and get some sort of advantage back from you, and so like, oh, okay, maybe we can call the bait. It doesn't work out for them here. They do end up burning the first shield, so we'll just burn one back in kind. And we're getting to the point where they actually swap out into Morpeko. And so now we're like, all right, this is actually fine. We throw the Aura Wheel, it lands, does tons of damage, and now we even get the full Thunder Shock down. And at this point, there's nothing the opponent can do. It is just a solid GG's. And so we'll move on into the next battle. I mean, look, oh, wait. So I thought that I'd already won. And so I was talking to chat. I was just hanging out in Twitch. And then I looked down and I was like, oh, heck. It was an absolute panic moment. It wasn't bad matters on my part. It was just, I forgot. But anyway, we do get the Annihilape into the Kingdra, which is a bit of an interesting one. Dragon Breath strategies are definitely, a different fast move pressure option, and maybe a little less, toxic than Charm, but I really feel like Charm is going to be the big one to go for as this meta continues. But we're going to go for the same thought process of not using any shields on Annihilape, because we do not want to go to a shield disadvantage. Now, they actually swap into Toxapex here, which, we'll throw a Rage Fist, but we're just going to let Annihilape go down so we can swap in Morpeko. We didn't want to switch lock ourselves, so we were happy to give them a few poison jabs of energy. Throw the Psychic Fangs, get the defense debuff in there, and at this point, we want to keep our Morpeko healthy, so we burn our Protect Shield. In comes the Quagsire. Now, at this point, I'm kind of like, oh, okay, well, we should be able to throw an Aura Wheel here, and then I should just instant swap into the Sableye. Unfortunately, it is one of these spots where, you can't get the Morpeko can't get a 0-turn swap because you can never swap on the charge attack. And I might, let me know if you don't know what that means and if I should put out a video on shield and swap mechanics. Sometimes when you swap, it's 0 turns and sometimes it takes 1 turn and it's consistent. It's just about when you use it. But just know that Morpeko can never do the 0-turn swap. And so we swap into our Sableye now a little bit late. And I didn't even realize they swapped into Toxapex. I didn't see that catch at all. I thought I was throwing it into Quagsire, but we end up getting to a foul play on the Quagsire anyway, but it's got so much energy that Quagsire is going to make quick work of our Sableye, quick work of our Morpeko, and this was unfortunately the sort of 11th battle that sort of knocked off our win streak. I haven't shown sort of all of the wins here, but we do have some more battles coming up after this as well, just because, I wanted to show off what this Morpeko team can do. So here's Swampert, a bit of an interesting one, and I know that this game goes off the rails, but it comes back. You just wait. So at the time, I was like, I'm a little curious. How much does Sludge do to Annihilape? Not thinking that, why would you throw Sludge when it's resisted into Annihilape? So I'm like, oh, okay. We throw the close combat, and Swampert gets a full mud shot down. So I was going for academic. I was going for science, and it did not pay off at all. So I was like, oh, okay. We've lost this battle. There is no coming back from this. You just wait. So Sableye eats a move and we're just going to let it completely go. We're like, okay, we've lost this game. It is all onto Morpeko. Morpeko with 2 shields into 1 shield. This is the battle to watch. Morpeko goes into a Lantern. It's like, okay, interesting. Because we have to take out 2 Pokemon, I'm going to go for the Aura Wheel here to boost my own attack. It lands, which is really nice for us, and we actually get the next Aura Wheel off before they even click a charge attack, which is awesome. Buff our attack even more, and what is in the back but Mandibuzz, and we have a shield advantage as well. Our attack is already super boosted. I mean, this is so good for us. I realized that we should have thrown Psychic Fangs there, just because, they were always going to shield the first one, because they recognized that the second one was going to be a Dark type Aura Wheel, but look how much damage it does anyway, taking it all the way out, and so that ends up pretty good for us. But a different lead are coming in with Seeking. I think a lot of people are really trying things out, because this is sort of day one of the Scroll Cup, I suppose. I did see a lot of Ludocolos in the lead as well, which is kind of bonkers. But anyway, we were able to get that full counterage down. Well, we're almost getting there. Again, going for that strategy of not using a single shield on Annihilape. Gallade actually comes in here, and I think that was Psycho Cut. I don't think it was Charm. Yeah, it's a Psycho Cut one. Does get a full farm down, which is pretty scary, but we do have the Sableye here, and we know that Sableye can tank a move from Gallade, even a Shadow Glade, and so we can sort of, I actually click the foul play here, going like, if they don't throw the move here, we'll get the win, but we're just going to leave it to Morpeko, and they've actually got this thing in the back. So I was sort of sitting here like, alright, I mean, I guess Bombardier is alright, but I don't think it's that good in this particular meta, personally, but hey, they're going in, they actually get the Rock Tomb onto us, which is going to debuff our attack, and at this point, I thought like, oh, Psychic Fangs is going to be enough to get this KO for sure. Post Rock Tomb nerf, no, that is not the case. And now I'm like, oh, heck. So I have to burn another shield on what turns out to be an Aerial Ace, but Glade comes in, we get charge attack priority on the Aura Wheel, and we get the big KO there. Sorry for the hard cut. I realized I left a bit of footage in that I wasn't supposed to, but last game of the video, we've got Annihilape into Morpeko, and this is the exact reason why we have Annihilape up front, because, Sableye, you'll just get caught behind, or Morpeko, you're hoping that you're just going to win charge attack priority, I guess. Annihilape is sort of that big, strong counter, and also potentially why you should be ABB swapping into the Sableye, I suppose, when Morpeko sort of picks up in prevalence, because I didn't see a lot of them, I suppose, but it is definitely going to be huge. And so with everyone swapping into the Drapion, we've swapped into the Sableye. We actually get the 1 HP KO through the shield, which is crazy. But in comes the Dazzling Gleam. We do our little smiley face on the on the screen, because it's more than enough after all of that Annihilate carnage, and it's actually Arachnid in the back, and so at this point it's a GG's. They just top left. And turns out there was actually one more battle of the video against the Inadequate's Shadow Palkia, which I don't think I mentioned at the start, but the graphic that Arrow's team was on that I yoinked it from was actually made by Inadequate. So shout out to him, and I'll have a link to that graphic in the description down below if you are interested in sort of checking that out and maybe seeing some other teams. But it's a pretty straightforward battle. There's a Machoke in here. I mean, straightforward. There's a Shadow Palkia, but yeah, it's a pretty solid battle for us. We had pretty good team comp. So I just want to say thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, especially that subscribe one if you are keen for this sort of content in the future. This is a bit of a new foray for me in that I haven't traditionally done a lot of battle content in the Go Battle League, but it's something that I want to start getting into alongside all of the meta simplified infographics and other sort of event stream tournaments that I like to do as well as PvPoke matchup mastery series that I do enjoy doing too. So a lot of content to expect in the coming weeks and months, and so I really appreciate everyone that does decide to subscribe. Of course, thanks to my patrons and YouTube members as well, all down in the description. I really appreciate everyone that does support this content, sort of helps make it all happen. But yeah, with that said, shout out to Arrohh for putting the team together, and let me know if you give this team a run and let me know how it goes for you. But I did just want to finish this video off with something, I guess an explosive finish for how the stream actually ended, because look, it was a straight up just tap, 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 the opponent left the game, but see how it ends. But with that said, thanks for watching, catch you on the next one. Wait. No, this isn't fair. No. Okay, hang on. No, shut. No. We're rebooting. Okay. No, we cannot lose this one. Oh no, good. The gods, thanks for the follow. If it says I lost, are we... I mean, who was worried, right? who was worried? And it says we've won 76. we got some free wins.